Good afternoon. Welcome to Cohn and Krueger. I'm Cohn. That's Larry Krueger. We're 2 minutes late because Kyle Shanahan's conference call, day after conference call, just wrapped up. He addressed Baker Mayfield. He talked about potential retired quarterbacks, maybe the Niners could. And he talked about Brock Purdy a lot. We're going to talk about those things. We're going to start with Brock Purdy because if you've been watching Cohn and Krueger, you know that Krueger has been Brock Purdy's biggest supporter since he saw him a lot in training camp. Larry was there most days. He saw Brock. He liked what Brock had to offer. Brock came through yesterday. So I want to ask Larry, what do you like about what you saw from Brock in his first extended action?
What I like is just that I liked him in minicamp, and just the fact that he's got a solid base. He's got a really easy, repeatable motion. He's got a little bit more zip on the ball than you think. And he's a little bit more than you think across the board. Like, he's a little bit more athletic than you think. He's a little stronger than you think. He's a little, calmer and smarter than you think. He's a lot more competitive than the average quarterback. And those are good traits, man. Those are really good traits. The ball, I'll say this. I was talking to somebody the other day about Purdy, and he said, really at the end of the day, it's like for rookie quarterbacks, it's rare that the ball comes out on time consistently. And with this guy, the ball does come out on time. I think it was Jimmy Ward, actually, that told us in the postgame when we did the TalkSport interview, was that the ball comes out on time. And, that can't be coached. I mean, you watch enough football. It either does or doesn't. Guys are a little early, a little late. Ball comes out on time with pretty good accuracy and pretty good zip. So I think they can still win with him. I don't know if they can. I don't know if they were a team that can win the Super Bowl, period, with or without him, Trey, Jimmy. But, I don't think there's a huge difference between what Garoppolo was giving you and what Purdy potentially can give you.
I feel like the poise in the pocket we're talking about and the timing that he plays with, it is a bit of an inherent trait, but I think it's also a function of experience. What we see is a guy who started 4 years in college, and it shows in a good way. I also like the way he can avoid sacks. I think he's actually more elusive significantly than Jimmy Garoppolo. And there were plays that Purdy got away where Jimmy wouldn't have. I also like how he throws the ball on the run. When he's rolling to his right, he can hit guys along the sideline. I think that's pretty nice. And my favorite thing about Brock Purdy, this is a guy I didn't like in training camp, but now that I've seen him, I like the way he plays in the red zone. I think he's aggressive. I think that their red zone efficiency just might go up with him. I'm not saying the offense will be better with him. I have reservations as well. We'll talk about that. But once they get down there, I really like the way he plays.
The number one thing you need in the red zone as a passer is accuracy because the windows are so small.
Yes.
And that was the one thing I tweeted about it the other day, or, in camp, I retweeted it yesterday, that he's the most accurate. I watched Trey, I watched Jimmy. I've seen the other guys they've brought in. This guy is the most accurate quarterback they've had in a long time. I mean, this guy really throws strikes. And he does it repeatedly. I mean, you watch it for a day, you're like, he doesn't wow you, right? Because he's not overly big or physical.
Right.
He doesn't
He's
have
a little small. He doesn't have a strong arm.
Side, little.
There's a total reason he was the last pick in the draft. I mean, it's not like, how did this? It's like, yeah, I can see it. It. Yeah.
But then you start to see the projection of where he is and where he's going. What he has, they can't teach. He's accurate. He's poised. He's smart. He knows the offense. You mentioned it. He's made 47 career starts.
It's hard to get that experience in football.
Yeah.
It's hard. Look at Trey.
And not only that, he's it's one thing to quarterback SC like Matt Leinart when they were loaded. It's another thing to quarterback Iowa State in the Big 12.
Right.
When you're only favored to win maybe 3 or 4 games on your schedule. This guy completed 73% of his passes. He was like third in the nation his senior year. He throws strikes. And when you're in the red zone, what you're going to see more from the Niners, they're going to throw more balls into the end zone for touchdowns, as opposed to throwing it.
Whenever Jimmy would get there, it was like,
it.
we're throwing to the flat. It's like, what was that? Was that just not trusting Jimmy's accuracy?
Yeah, I don't. Seriously.
That always would kill me the last 5 years. Throw the ball into the end zone.
Yeah,
I think Purdy did.
Some guys are better anticipatory throwers than others. This guy, I think, is like that. I thought there were a couple plays he made. The one where he beat the blitz and he found Kittle in the middle of the field and he took a big hit. I mean, it really showed the total traits. He audibled to the play. He showed the footwork. He got the quick release. He put it on Kittle's hands. He took the hit and he got up for the next snap. I mean, that's how it's coached up. There's not a lot of guys who can do it better than that. So he lacks some stature, and his biggest weakness is that this guy is so tough that he'll welcome hits that will knock him out in the NFL level. So that would be my only concern is durability, because he'll stand in there and take that hit. He's courageous, but it's NFL defensive players and they win typically.
Okay, yeah, I have some reservations beyond just a couple of things. I mean, so he's aggressive. I like the way he throws, but the way they're talking about him as a passer reminds me of Nick Mullins. Nick Mullins was more aggressive than Jimmy Garoppolo, would push the ball down the field more than Jimmy Garoppolo, would have games where he's looking really nice, accurate, and aggressive. And then he would start throwing picks. And at a certain point, he would look like, man, this guy's a backup quarterback. He needs to stop doing this and just manage the game. And I feel like I've seen this a lot of times. I haven't seen that much of Purdy, so I don't know what to expect. But with backup quarterbacks on the 49ers or around the league, look at Bailey Zappi or whatever that guy's name is.
Yeah.
Guy comes in, maybe in relief, looks great. No tape on him. No game plan for him. Looks really nice. Maybe keeps it going for 2-3 weeks. Eventually, there's more tape. There's a game plan. There's a sense of his strengths and weaknesses, and it falls apart. And then he's on the bench, and you don't see him for a while. So I guess just the big picture knowledge of what backup quarterbacks tend to do. That's how it usually goes. If he's more than a backup quarterback, he'll show it. But if he's a backup quarterback, how much can you really expect from him? He hasn't had any first team reps all year. Now they're trying to get him started. At least he's got experience to fall back on.
I mean, they're definitely. I mean, it's the NFL. It's pro sports. They're going to try to turn off your water. They're going to try to take away your first read. They're going to try to make him throw it outside the numbers. But this player with this group of weapons, if he just plays within himself and takes whatever the defense gives him, and I think he's disciplined and smart enough and competitive enough to do exactly that. If he just takes what the defense gives him, gets the ball out on time, keeps playing with the same poise, he doesn't need to do anything different than what he's doing right now, I think he's going to be generally pretty effective. I'm not saying he's Mahomes, but he's got some traits that Mahomes has. For example, Mahomes is not a burner, but Mahomes has incredible 5 or 7 step quickness to get away from the rush. This guy is not a burner, but he does have some another level speed wise he can get to escape the rush. So I like that about him. And then what I also like is I saw Mullins as a guy who oftentimes wouldn't stay with his mechanics as far as stepping into throws. And then his arm was just totally weak. This guy is more disciplined and seems like he understands the need to step into his throws, and his footwork is really, really good. I think much better than Mullins. So we'll see how it all shakes out. But I don't think Mullins is a good comparison.
I feel like there were a few passes in this game that he got kind of lucky on and could have got intercepted. There were a few ones where I'm holding my breath, and I'm thinking when he goes against a better defense, I'm not counting him out, but I'm curious because I've seen this happen with backup quarterbacks a lot. So you're saying if he just takes what the defense gives him and plays within himself, all right, manage the game, don't turn the ball over, and most importantly, stay healthy. If he goes down, it's over, if it's not already over. So he needs to stay healthy in a way that Jimmy Garoppolo never figured out how to do. That's almost his most important job. See if he can do it. Let's see if they can help him stay healthy.
Go to the next down, use your weapons. He's
don't do too much. Don't do too much. Because you don't have to be Patrick Mahomes, even though Larry sees some Patrick Mahomes in Brock Purdy.
I see some Patrick.
You don't have to be that. Just be Trent Dilfer. Be like a vet, and he is a vet. I mean, for a rookie, he's one of the more experienced rookies you could imagine. So play like a vet. Be Trent Dilfer. Don't make it about you. Because a lot of times I felt like Jimmy, he'd be doing it for like 3 weeks, and then he just couldn't freaking help himself, and he would play outside of himself, and he's not that good. Don't do that, Brock. Just be the game manager and let the defense win the game and distribute the ball like you did in this last game, and go down when you're about to go down, or don't get hurt. I don't know. He did it at Iowa State, right?
Your assumption, I think that you're kind of assuming that what we saw was the best of Brock and that it's all downhill from here. I mean, think about it this way. He just took a test publicly that he really was probably only studying for halfway, right? Because he's taken that test.
That's true.
He's preparing to play every week, but never playing.
Didn't get first team reps. He was with the scouts, and you're right.
This week he gets first team reps. He gets
That's true.
And the game plan maybe catered to what he does well. Maybe the plays that throws that he likes to make, the windows that he likes to exploit.
All I'm saying is
all the mental breakdown of Tampa. I just think that we got a glimpse at Brock. I expect Brock to be more this week the way he's actually going to play.
But all I'm saying is with backup quarterbacks, often even good ones, their first game will be really good. And then the more exposure they have to the league and the league has to them benefits the league because they're backup quarterbacks. And you have,
and they have a flaw.
It's not their fault. Yeah. So all I'm saying is I kind of expect, Nick Mullins' first appearance was great. Beathard's first appearance, I remember Beathard's first appearance, he lost to Washington, but that team was awful and he played gritty. And everyone was talking about how he had the it factor that week. Yeah. And then look at him 4 weeks later. He was beat up, not his fault. And Jimmy Garoppolo was in. Everyone forgot about C.J. Beathard. I do think this is the best backup they've had. He's better than Beathard and Mullins. I agree. But
he might be better than Jimmy. And before you laugh at that, look at their resumes.
I'm not laughing.
No, but look at their resumes. Jimmy, the ultimate stat. And now there's obviously, if you played for SC, Matt Leinart had great numbers. And, if you play for a juggernaut, that's one thing. But Jimmy was 500. At whatever Eastern Illinois,
Eastern
500.
Yeah.
He has 23 wins, 22 losses. Brock Purdy has a much more favorable record playing for Iowa State in the Big 12. So I don't know. Jimmy's a little bigger, little bit more of a natural arm, obviously a quicker release. But Brock, I think, sees it better, is more accurate. He's about an inch shorter, a little quicker. I think he has a better account for the field. I think you're going to see him take care of the football. A little less of an arm, but if he can step into it, he's got enough arm. So I think he's going to play pretty good. The question though is, can he stay healthy? Because he is the kind of guy that, like, when he rolled right, Grant, and then he stopped and he got smoked. Was it Van Ginkel or whoever it was from behind?
I was like,
that was like the Leonard Marshall, Joe Montana play.
Yeah, it was bad. And I feel like he's got a little bit of like, I'm a playmaker. I can make plays. Like, yeah, but one of these times you're going to run right into something. Be careful because that's been hurting Jimmy Garoppolo for years, is doing a little bit too much. So but again, he seems like even though he's adjusting to the speed of the NFL, he's an experienced guy. I think knows what he's going to do. I don't know. I'm afraid that in like 3 weeks, someone's going to be like, okay, this is it. And he's going to throw 3 picks and it's going to be like, what? Well, he's a backup. And it's like, and if that happens in 4 weeks, you can't be mad at him. Because it's like, rookie, last pick in the draft. He could end up being a legitimate, really good backup quarterback for 10 years for the 49ers. And all you're really asking him to do is win in stretches. It's not fair that he has to essentially now bring the Niners to the Super Bowl. It's like, okay. I'll try. What do you want from me?
The guy is rare between the ears and here. And, here, this guy's rare. Like, I'll say this. To me, when you're looking at that camera, the end zone camera, and you get the close-up of the quarterback's face pre-snap, I think you're getting a little bit of a picture into at least his I don't know, not his mindset, but maybe his temperament. Go watch Nick Mullins from the end zone and go watch Brock Purdy, and then go watch like Aaron Rodgers. Brock Purdy looks way more like Aaron Rodgers back there than Nick Mullins. As far as Mullins would have this kind of helter-skelter looking around. Rodgers is like kind of bored. He's like, and Purdy has that calm He really should not be calm like that. To me, that's about seeing it, feeling it, being in your playbook, the mental reps. This kid's a lot better than people think. He's just
All
kind
right.
of built in a smaller quarterback package.
All right, you've compared him to Patrick Mahomes, Aaron Rodgers. I think we need to move on before you compare him to Joe Montana. No, I appreciate
Montana
you.
Didn't have no, but as far as that calm does tell you,
I agree. That totally
process.
came through. It totally, even more so than Jimmy Garoppolo, who can get a little skittish if you hit him once or twice. Jorge, thank you. Steven, props to Krueger for calling it on Purdy. This is big props to Krueger Day. We should have called this episode Props to Krueger. Double B Studio says, if it ain't Drew Brees, let's rock with Brock. Drew Brees, is he even ready? Thoughts on getting Cam Newton? Is he even ready?
I mean, at this point, it's December, first week in December. I mean, even if you were ready, are you still ready? It's like any quarterback on this list, it's like they might have been ready in July. Are they still ready in December? I don't know.
Matthew Sanders says, I'm going to let you finish, but can we get some love for Gold? Yeah, Gold is good.
He's
good
money.
kicker. Money. Clayton says, what you want about Purdy, he just wins. Say what you want about Purdy, he just wins. Yeah, exactly. The Jimmy Garoppolo argument. J-Rod 5 says, if you look at the comments, the Niners post-game conference, when Jimmy got hurt, everyone is wishing him good luck. When Trey got hurt, everyone is mad at Kyle. That's interesting. Callie Tremor says, things happen for a reason. I wish Jimmy a speedy recovery and future success. Offense will be different, and we'll see what happens going forward. Sure. Very nice of you, Callie Tremor. Joseph says, imagine Luck return for the team. What do you think Luck's doing these days?
We just saw him, right? Wasn't he at some football game recently? I thought we just saw him like maybe at a Stanford game earlier this year.
Did he still look like an athlete, or is he like
tired?
tired?
Yeah, he still looks like, I mean, that guy, he's, well, what is he? 33 right now? Like how
yeah,
old is
probably. Yeah. He's younger than, maybe 32. Born in 90, I think.
He could definitely play, but isn't he property of the Colts?
I think so. For life. Yikes.
I don't know for life.
At what point? Maybe he's just waiting for that to go away, and he'll come back 10 years.
That one, I'll tell you, of all the retirements, that's the one that shocks me the most. That guy had a potential Super Bowl or two in front
Hall
of
of Fame career, yeah. Double B Studio says, Grant, you said in training camp Brock was accurate but had a noodle arm. I think Niners should wait a week and see what they have with Brock. I still feel like he's got, a little spaghetti in that arm. But everything Larry said about Brock, I agree with. So I'm intrigued. But I do feel like, if he comes back down to earth in a few weeks, you can't be mad at him. You can't hold it against him. And you can't act like you're super surprised. If he does turn out to be a starting quarterback, that's great. Can
I just say one thing? We're going to see this guy hit receivers down the field in stride, and Niner fans are going to remember what that looks like. I have no
idea what that's like. I don't know.
We've not seen the 49er quarterback hit a receiver down the field in stride with any consistency I can't even remember who the last one was. Alex never did it. Cap never did it. They never did it. It's been a while.
Josh Wyatt pushes back. He says, Jimmy Garoppolo had 1,200 yards, 9 TDs, 1 interception, 71 completion percentage, 110 rating over the last 5 games. Purdy posts an 85 rating, and it's a wash. That's not credible. What do you say to Josh Wyatt?
Saying that comparing him to Garoppolo?
Yeah.
I think I'm talking about Garoppolo's resume in college compared to Purdy's resume in college coming in, because that's where Purdy is. He's coming into the NFL. So I was putting Garoppolo back there. No, but Josh was totally right. Garoppolo was having the best year of his career. He had finally learned to throw the ball that wasn't there into the turf and to avoid these hugely negative plays. And he was surrounded. I thought Lynch, deserves a huge pat on the back because he gave Garoppolo this ultimate safety valve in McCaffrey, and Garoppolo had utilized him to, an almost an expert level. So Jimmy was playing at a really high level this year. And I'm not saying they're even now. I'm saying that they were, in my mind, Purdy was the better prospect coming in to the league. Now, obviously the league didn't agree with me because Jimmy went in the second round and, Purdy's Mr. Irrelevant. That's how I saw it.
Steven says Colin Cowherd was already down on Glock Purdy today. I don't know. His daughter also dated Glock. He has to give one of those guys a chance. Jeez.
It's easy to be down on Purdy because he doesn't give you the look. He gives you that backup diminutive. This is the placeholder look. But the results,
certainly does. He absolutely does. But we'll see. I mean, other quarterbacks like that have succeeded. Tom Vang says Brock versus a mediocre defense. Don't get your hopes up yet. Brock does look good, though. We'll have to see how he performs versus the Bucs next week. That will be a bigger test. That's a pretty good defense with some. Yeah, that's a pretty good test. Let's go. Brandon says ride with Brock Purdy. He looked poised and calm yesterday. They're riding with him. J-Rod, thank you. Niners daddy came here to give Krueger his flowers. Claimed Purdy was a gamer. Saw it with my own eyes. Purdy is a gamer.
Thank you.
He's a gamer. Double B Studio says if Purdy wins playoff games or the bowl, what then?
Then he's the guy.
He's the guy. End of story.
I mean, that's the question is this: if he plays really well, does that mean that they bring Jimmy back, or they say goodbye to Jimmy and bring Trey back to compete with Purdy next summer? But it's really Trey's job because of the investment.
Let's slow down. We're not there yet.
If he plays well. If Purdy played well, let's say they go on a run, Grant, and they make the playoffs and they win a playoff game or two. I mean, what would validate Purdy in your mind? What does he need to do? Because he's a number 3 quarterback in this situation. I mean, this is all
validate is a different thing. What you're saying is making him the franchise quarterback and Trey the backup. I don't know that he could do anything this year other than win the Super Bowl for me to go there. But I think we're ways off from that.
He wins the NFC Championship game and loses to Kansas City in a shootout.
I think it would depend how he played. I think it would depend. Okay, do I have to even answer this question right now? It's December 5th. He's played one game. Let's let him get there. I want to see how the story ends. This was so nice about the season now is it's a mystery. I feel like with Jimmy, we knew what was going to happen. It's like, man, it's season 5, but it's season 5 and season 1 is the same. It's the same show. You repackage the same show. But now, I don't know what's going to happen at the end, and I like that. Last Second Sports says, I've been on Purdy train for 2 years, but he's a career backup. He's the same skill set as Christian Ponder, and maybe that's enough for 2022. Christian Ponder was a first-round pick, though.
And Christian Ponder was really smart and really
athletic.
Move.
Yeah. He was.
So that's not a bad,
That's a good comp. NorCal Dan says, I was with my family and brother's wife's family, and we all saying Brock fit into tighter windows than Jimmy. That's balls Jimmy would have gotten picked. Yeah. Yeah. That throw he made to Kittle, I don't think Jimmy makes.
Heck, by the way, how would we think differently about Brock if Willie Snead had caught that touchdown pass at the end of the game where Brock actually played? That was a really beautiful drive that he led and threw it right on Snead's hands, and Snead dropped it. And I asked Brock about it, and he was like, yeah, my parents were giving me crap about it. So it's like they've got high standards. It's an athletic family. They've got high standards. This kid is not like, I've arrived. He feels like he's big time. That's got to count for something. We'll see.
Timothy says, when does Kyle Shanahan stop trying to justify CMC and run Mason in the red zone? Good question. Why is Mayfield all of a sudden worth getting, and analysts are saying he was trash? We're going to talk about Mayfield, so bear with us. But, yeah, I feel like all these goal line carries for McCaffrey are trying to goose up his numbers to justify the trade when, dude, just win the Super Bowl. That's how you justify the trade. Use your best players in the best roles, and that's not how you use McCaffrey. I don't like that, especially when you got Mason running really freaking hard.
Yeah.
I mean, what?
Is somebody seeing something with Mason that I'm not seeing? I see a 235-pound guy who runs incredibly hard and pushes the pile every time. I don't know that I've seen him push back. He's a power back who's fresh. Run your fresh power back inside the 5. So is it that crazy of an idea?
I don't think so. We talked about it at halftime yesterday. Jan Evander says, why didn't Lance get the Purdy offense?
Well, I mean, I love Kyle Shanahan, but if he was sitting here,
that's the question.
Our first conversation has to be about the handling of Trey at the beginning of the year, where you're running in between the tackles repeatedly, because that's all he could do. That's what he does best. That was the game plan. I've still never really heard anybody.
He said, that's how they use Josh Allen. Like, no.
Really? Because it's really. December, Josh Allen's still going.
Good point. 49ers daddy says Purdy best backup QB better for Trey than Jimmy. I mean, I think the whole reason they drafted him instead of signing him as an undrafted free agent, because they could have done either one. He was the last pick in the draft, was they wanted the 4th year. If you sign him, I think it's a 3-year contract. So he's going to be here. They want him for the long term. I also want to say keep Kyle away from Purdy. He might just ruin him. I love how cynical Niner fans are. It's the best. It's great. Ern says, please don't compare Purdy to one of the greatest to ever play. Are we really saving the entire NFL missed on Purdy? Yeah, I mean, I think that's fair to say. Like, look, all the good qualities he has, he's still a small quarterback with a weak arm. So he's going to have to be really, really good to overcome that in the NFL. But he did it. He's got a great team though. That's what complicates things.
Okay,
he's got a great team.
Here's the thing that makes this story so juicy.
Yeah.
The guy is accurate. The ball comes out on time. He has a bevy of top tier weapons and Kyle Shanahan and the best number one defense in the NFL.
So be Trent Dilfer, and he just might be able to do it.
Yeah, if anybody could do this, this might be the guy.
Yeah.
And this might be the team.
And what's nice about him, so a first round pick might have an ego. I got to do something. I got to be the focal. I got to prove myself. I got to make a play, be a hero. Mr. Irrelevant, I'm thinking he doesn't have that kind of an ego. And if the Niners say execute this game plan, freaking do it. So that's a good thing, because what they really need is a quarterback with no ego. That's what they need.
Well, but here's the other thing, too. What I'm interested in checking out in the next couple of weeks is the yardage in the run after the catch. Because when you truly have an accurate quarterback who really knows the offense and the ball comes out on time, it doesn't matter if you're operating underneath, in the middle of the field, or down the field, you're going to get run after the catch yardage that you're not getting right now. I want to see that. To me, that's the stat that will tell us if this Niner team is ready for just, maybe a decent finish, but they're going to check out, as opposed to watch the hell out for the 49ers because they're getting run after the catch in huge chunks. That's what I'm looking for in the next couple of weeks. I think this is a very good chance we see that.
Flavor Reborn says Purdy's height is an issue. How about early Russ Breeze? I like Brock. Yeah, I mean, he's only 1 inch. It's technically 1 inch shorter than Jimmy Garoppolo. So he is on the smaller side, but it's
height doesn't get passes batted down. It's your eyes. It's how well you camouflage your eyes. That's quarterbacking 2.0. Watch. I mean, if you're 5'5", you're going to get passes batted down. But he's 6'1" and change.
Bunless Hot Dog says, Krueger, if Purdy is so athletic, how come he doesn't get to run counter bash like Trey did? Just kidding. Seriously, I'm on the Purdy train. Great prediction. Stephen Pryor says, if Glock Purdy ends up being better Jimmy, and gets us a ring, does that make Mike McGlinchey worth the first? This could be some twisted destiny. Good question. Sean Shepard says, Grant, your takes are great. I have reservations about Purdy remembering Mullins versus Raiders. Then the real Mullins came out. Come on, Grant. Mully is the king of bounce passes. Seriously. No, Tua. Tua was so bad yesterday. But you got to give the Niners credit for freaking him out. What the hell was that? Tua. Trey says, I won't get too hyped off one game with Purdy, but Purdy went through his reads, was accurate with his with passes that his wide receivers could only catch. Repeat play. I want to see him against the Bucs, man. Todd Bowles, that's a good team. If he can do it against the Bucs, I'll be intrigued.
Surprised.
Well, yeah, a little bit. But again, he's got a great team. It's all he has to do is do what you said. Take what they give you. Clayton says, Flav just texted me, locked himself in the Jimmy Shrine closet again. It won't come out. Downgrading him to doubtful to join the show today. He's trapped in the closet. He's locked in the closet. Sean Shepard says, Mully just won the World Rock Skipping Championships. No, he's on the Vikings. He took Kellen Mond's job. Poor Kellen.
That's right. I forgot about that.
Calais Safari says, we all know defense wins games, but excluding that fact, in their winning games, were the Niners putting up points because of Kyle, or were they putting up points because of Jimmy, or both, or all three?
By the way, that's a good question.
Were they putting up points? Like, wasn't that the story this year, that they weren't putting up as many points as they should be? That wasn't that the story?
Right. They just put 13 against the Saints.
Right.
That's the thing. How good is the 49er? A lot of people were asking coming into this game, how good is the 49er defense? Because they hadn't faced that many good offenses. I think my primary takeaway from yesterday is that, man, that was a really impressive performance outside of Tyreek Hill doing whatever the hell he wanted. They totally took away the Dolphins' run game. So I don't remember Jeff Wilson or Mostert talking too big after that game. They didn't run it at all.
Legendary Answers Niners says, call me crazy, but I think Brian Greasy, quarterback coaching these guys up, is criminally underrated. He could be the quarterback whisperer. I don't know, man. 2 of his quarterbacks hurt. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
They're on their third string quarterback. I don't know, man. Teach him how to go down, Brian. Ivan says, breaking news, front office figured out a way to tie Lance's bad leg to Jimmy's good leg, creating a cutting-edge hybrid quarterback. It's like a three-legged race. Then that could be the Niners at quarterback. All right, look, we got a lot more. I'm going to get to all of them, but I got stuff I want to say. I want to revisit Jimmy Garoppolo's injury. We couldn't talk about this yesterday because it happened, and, it's terrible. It's awful, and I feel bad for him. But now we got to go back and look at how that injury happened. I didn't look at a ton of replays during the game because lots happening fast. I'm in the press box. I watched the replay, and can I just say what I saw real quick, and then I want to know what you saw. I see an unblocked rusher in Jimmy Garoppolo's face. In this situation, he's screwed. He's not athletic enough to make a play in this situation. He should know that. In this situation, what would Tom Brady do, Larry?
Go down.
Go down! We've seen him do it a million times for 20 years. He would go down. What did Jimmy do?
He kept fighting, extended his legs, and allowed Phillips to basically knee him, break his foot with his knee.
He stiff arms 55, then 15 comes in, and he spins away from 15 and starts running with both of them on his back. And then they just drop 500 pounds of weight on him, and his foot broke. So it's tragedy. It's tragic. But at the same time, it's a terrible decision by a 31-year-old quarterback who should know better. Man, you're the season. Unless Brock Purdy can prove a bunch of people wrong. You're the season. You're the backup quarterback. Your number one job is to go down and stay healthy. And you did that? You ruined your career. You ruined the season. It's really too bad. You're not 23. You've played a lot, man. And you were doing really well. And you spin move, Heisman, try to put him on your back, and you were fighting for extra yards in the backfield, man. It's really unfortunate that you did that. You cost yourself $100 million. What are you going to get? You were going to get a 3-year, $100 million contract. Now you're not. Maybe you might get a 1-year, $3 million contract. It's too bad, man. You could have won the Super Bowl and been. It's really unfortunate. What were you thinking on that, dude? What were you thinking? It's like what happened in Kansas City.
Show your legs. I mean, that's how Bar None went down.
Yeah,
so Bar None's a fullback.
Go down.
Go down. Just
you watch Tom Brady play. How many times did you watch Tom Brady just go down? I mean, he's not trying to show how tough he is. I don't know. It's too bad.
Amazing.
I'm not trying to blame him.
Well, there's an edge. There's a fine line between insane competitiveness and stupidity. And Tom Brady goes down. Are you trying to say he's not competitive? No.
Exactly.
He's one of the most competitive quarterbacks of all time. And he goes down.
Why does he go down, Larry?
Go down.
Why does he go down?
Next play. Because you can't win if you're not on the field.
He needs to protect the team. And by the best way to protect the team is to protect himself. Simple as that. Jimmy, you're really important. Act like it. You know better than that. I mean, it's one thing for Trey Lance to break his ankle running between the tackles like a running back. What are you supposed to do? But you're in the pocket and a guy comes unblocked, you're allowed to just go down. No one would ever criticize you for that, ever. And you know that. It's disheartening. It's really disheartening because it cost him and it cost the team. He's sitting there, someone being like, man, I should have just went down. I could have had all this money. It's too bad.
And it's the kind of play that even could have cost them even more. They could have easily lost possession on the play as well. So it's and what are you gaining? Risk reward.
2 yards?
Playing quarterback is a lot about risk reward. Risk reward. Where was the reward in extending that play as opposed to the risk?
It was the same thing in Kansas City when he tore his ACL. He's got an 8-yard scramble. That's great. And then he tries to cut back in the field, lower shoulder, and get 3 more yards. Why? And then he did. Anyway, I'm done. I made my point. It's frustrating. I can only imagine how frustrated he is and how frustrated the 49ers are. I mean, so unnecessary. And unless Brock Purdy is freaking King Arthur over here, that decision ruined the season. That and running Trey Lance up between the tackles. Those two. Breaking news: front office figured out a way to tie. Oh, we got you already. Hold on, J-Rod. If Purdy goes down, I'm going in as quarterback, and I can throw 25 yards downfield and screens. You're in.
There you go, J-Rod.
Is that Spider-Man? J-Rod. Yeah, sorry, that was a little rant. But Anthony Cook says Kyle saving Mason for playoffs like 19 Mostert. Oh, 40 chess. They're going to make it the playoffs. Matthew Sanders says Brock has great pocket awareness above what some vets are able to achieve. He climbs, improvises, has vision, shades of Eli and Kurt. And, he's getting some heady comparisons today, but I'll allow it. It's my show. I'll allow it. I do like everything you guys have said. I agree with. Corey Soto says 2 weeks and Lance will suddenly be eligible. This Purdy Cinderella story ends the same as others. The guest is gassing up way too much. I'm afraid that happens, and then people are going to be disappointed. Like, if that happens, you can't hold it against him. He still could be a promising young quarterback. He's been playing scout team all year. He's getting the first.
First of all, anybody can have a tipped pass, right?
Yeah.
A tip pass. What he's not going to do is lose account of the defenders and just throw picks. I don't believe it.
Hey, guys, who missed on Kurt Warner? Everyone. Kurt Warner, that's true. But Kurt Warner, his whole story was amazing. I mean, he went to what?
He was at Kroger's. He's working at Kroger's.
Yeah, he wasn't quite ready. He needed to go and play in the Arena Football League, and eventually he was ready. Alec Grant, love the show and really appreciate all the work you put in for us. Do you think the Rams, Colts, or Texans would claim Baker Mayfield before the Niners have the chance to claim him? Okay, let's talk about Baker Mayfield, and then I'll get to the rest of the thing, because Baker's very interesting.
Yeah, he is.
What's the deal with Baker Mayfield? This is a guy who was the number one pick. I mean, to be the number one pick, you go through so many workouts where you just leave people's jaws on the floor. He used to have a freaking cannon. Now, he's bouncing around the league. He has the lowest QBR this season of any quarterback since ever, other than Jamarcus Russell. And he just got straight up released. He might clear waivers. It seems like teammates hate him. He can't lead, and he's not the athlete he used to be. At least that's my perception. What is the deal with Baker Mayfield?
Well, I mean, I think he's good. I liked him in college. I liked him.
Yeah,
I thought he had a lot of moxie.
Did.
I really thought that he was the right pick, when they took him. And in that draft, heck, I mean, he played better than Sam Darnold. Who were the other guys? Rosen. He outplayed that other guys.
Josh Allen.
Except for Josh Allen. Of course, Josh Allen was number one.
But what's crazy is Sam Darnold was outplaying him in Carolina this year. Baker. That's crazy to me. No one thinks anything of Darnold.
His body has gotten just absolutely beat up.
That's a big deal.
And sometimes after a while, you start to, hear ghosts, and, you're anticipating pressure because your body's so beat up. And maybe there's a little bit of that going on. I think he also did a ton of commercials probably before he should have.
Yes.
His commercials to playoff win ratio sucks. And I get the feeling that, he's maybe a little bit about himself, but I don't really know the guy, and I don't know anybody who knows him. He's not the biggest arm. He's not the biggest quarterback, but he's got a good arm. He's not old. You're talking about 27 years old. He was a winner in college. I mean, the guy won the Heisman. So it's. I mean, the Heisman's not a good example, but 98 touchdowns, 62 picks. His completion percentage is a little low. I will say this though. I mean, any quarterback would want to play for Kyle Shanahan. Any quarterback would want the weapons that this offense has. So the interesting thing about this is, will Baker make a statement saying that he wants to play for a certain team and then maybe influence if what teams pick him up in waivers? But I got to think
he's washing out of the league.
24th in waiver priority. I can't imagine, a league that has so few quarterbacks and all these injuries, unless there's some word on the street that he's a bad guy or has some kind of drug problem or some issue that's underlying issue. Based on what I've seen, there's no way he clears waivers and gets to the Niners.
I don't know about that.
Really?
I don't know about that. I mean, why'd they release him? Why? Did he ask his release? Does he think he's coming to the Niners? Because look, here's the thing. Kyle was just asked on the conference call, hey, are you guys interested in Baker Mayfield? And he was like, I'd be surprised. I like what we have. I like Baker, but I'd be surprised. I don't know that teams are that interested. I mean, players don't like him. It's demonstrable. I don't think he has the arm he had a few years ago. I think there's something wrong with him physically. And he's not a leader. I mean, look what's happening to Zach Wilson in New York. I mean, he's like off the team. He's inactive. It looks like people don't like Zach Wilson. And once he started playing poorly and didn't take responsibility for it, they pretty much vetoed him. And it seems like Baker's getting that from his teams too. And what they have in common is they're these really cocky guys who don't have a ton of success in the league and grew up in mansions, really rich, that are not particularly relatable to the average guy in a locker room like Jimmy Garoppolo is, who grew up, middle class in Chicago. I think Rosen is this guys who grew up really rich that
Playing
never
tennis.
that did not connect with their teammates. They were really cocky and aloof. And once they started playing poorly, everyone's like, I don't want to play with that guy. Absolute non-leaders. I think that's what we're seeing with Baker is all people like, he used to have a good skill set, but it's not really there anymore. And is he really like if the Niners brought him in, Nick Bosa doesn't like him. It's Nick's team. How are you going to play? It wouldn't work. I don't think it would work.
All I'll say about Mayfield is I think you pegged him wrong as the rich kid from what I'm reading. I mean, supposedly they had to sell his family home in high school and he went from rental home to rental home.
Okay, fair enough. Sorry about that. I don't know. He just comes across as a rich, cocky frat dude. That's the way he comes across. I'm sorry. Maybe I'm wrong about that.
He definitely,
that was Manziel. Manziel was super rich coming out of Texas. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but I think Baker, there's always a race when you jump into the NFL. Can you learn what to do and refine the nuances of playing quarterback before your body gets beaten down and you're physically diminished? And it happens. Some guys take a ton of hits. This guy took a beating. Was it last year? He's out there with a torn labrum and he's just taking a beating in that division.
And he's not a leader.
I don't know if he's a leader, but I'll say this: he's done an awful lot of commercials for a guy who's not very accomplished. Now, does that reflect a sense of entitlement or some ego or something? Maybe. It's
hard to lead when your teammates don't like you. It's hard to lead when they don't like you.
They got Deshaun Watson. He wasn't like at all about the team. He was just like, I'm out of here. Where look at Jimmy's reaction to the drafting of Lance by comparison. So I wonder about the mental maturity of Baker Mayfield. And let's be honest, a major part of playing quarterback in the NFL is you have to be a leader of men. And if those guys don't follow, you don't got much.
Exactly. And I think what's too bad is he was trying to get that contract and he played injured, and I think he probably compromised himself, and now he's not quite what he used to be, and he's probably not
But what
liked.
are their options? Jacob Eason? The reality is that
they signed Josh Johnson
to get it done. I don't think they can get it done with Josh Johnson. I think Josh Johnson, he's 36
Well, Brock
years old.
Purdy is going to win the Super Bowl, so it doesn't matter.
Well, I do think Brock Purdy's going to surprise everybody. I've already said that many, many times, so people know I'm synonymous with that. I'll stick with it, and I got confidence in him going forward. But Super Bowl, I don't know that Jimmy was going to win the Super Bowl.
Don't. That's our next topic. Don't tell people what you're going to say. We got to create suspense. Whoa. Viking says, Larry, you were spot on last night post-game on Purdy and the whole Mr. Irrelevant BS. Total slap in his face. NFL needs to get rid of it.
Oh, yeah. I was going off last night on my show about how I've seen him now asked about this Mr. Irrelevant like about 10 times on camera. Yeah. And it's bullshit.
It's enough.
This guy was like one of the greatest high school quarterbacks in the history of the state of Arizona and goes to Iowa State and is amazingly successful and was like third in the nation in completion percentage. And just people are like, well, you're Mr. Irrelevant. Like people just making it sound like it's just like you're a joke. And it's just, I don't know. It seems kind of beneath.
Enough. T Breezy says, let's show some love for Brian Greasy. Hell of a job. Can you please keep one of these quarterbacks healthy, though? Please, Brian. Tell him how to go down. You taught him how to throw the ball away. That was good. I like that part. Sean Shepard says, funny Debo had his best game of the year with Purdy. Yeah,
I was surprised because I didn't think Debo was going to be a big factor. Did you? I thought he was hurt. He looked great.
They give him $24 million a year. They're going to give him touches. I'd be cool if he could score a touchdown. That would be nice. The whole running back thing is over with, but he's still, that one play where he got caught in the backfield and he made 4 guys miss, it's pretty cool. Paul Tilton says, anyone remember Mullen's first game? I believe it was better than Purdy's. I'm hoping BP is for real, but let's temper expectations, fans of both of you. Yeah, that's pretty much where I'm coming from, but you got to give Larry his flowers today because he called it. So if he's getting a little excited and comparing him to Patrick Mahomes and Aaron Rodgers, that's okay. Jorge says, go Brock, bring a fairy tale ending to the season. Why? That would be really freaking cool. If Mr. Irrelevant would be the first rookie quarterback to win a Super Bowl, that would be some really cool stuff.
You've always said that Shanahan's about Shanahan and like this, he wants to be the face of the thing.
Well,
this would be could you imagine
perfect.
What they would say? What would the NFL hierarchy say about Kyle Shanahan if he won the Super Bowl with his third string
He would one up
quarterback.
Belichick because Belichick's whole thing is, Brady was he was the 200 something pick. Who's ever done anything like that with it? Well, Kyle could do it. So here you go.
I mean, how many games you got to win? How many games are they going to have to win in the playoffs? 3?
3, 4, maybe 4. Brock, Mr. Relevant Purdy. Haha, Mr. Relevant. Mark says Purdy acts calmer in a pressured pocket than Jimmy. I would have to agree with that.
Quieter feet.
I would have to agree with that. Flavor Reborn says Jimmy has tried to pick up yards on his feet and got wrecked every time. Not surprised he didn't go down. Niners players gassing Jimmy G too much. I just don't know what he's thinking in these moments. He was really doing well, making good decisions. Baker Mayfield has commercial fatigue. God, his commercials are so bad.
Too many.
JG did the same thing when he tore his ACL, trying to get, 2 yards in the backfield this time? Anyway, do you, Purdy? Yeah, do you. Zero chance 46-year-old Brady would entertain signing with the Niners with 69 on that line. Well, he's going to be a free agent next year, too. Brady might be able to bring his own right tackle with him. I'm still pulling for Trey. He deserves to show what he can do. Yeah, I'm still pulling for Trey, too. He's been in a really tough spot. Next offseason will be interesting. Baker asked for his release rap sheet. Yeah, did he think that he's coming to the Niners? Did he watch Jimmy Garoppolo break his foot and go to the Panthers and be I want out?
Grant, think about it. He can save his entire career if he can somehow get to the Niners on waivers, get on the field with this offense.
But it's not going to happen. They don't want you, Baker. Kyle just said it.
They don't want him. But
no one wants you, man. I don't know what it is.
Purdy's down. I mean, is it Jacob Eason? Is it? I mean, I don't. They're not going to Josh Johnson. I don't buy that for a second. Do you really?
They literally signed Josh Johnson. And I think what they're thinking is, look, we could bring in Baker Mayfield, but the team won't like him. It'll take us a month for him to learn our offense, and then by the time he's ready to play, I don't think they want to do it. I'm thinking they're not going to do it.
If Purdy went down against Tampa, you're saying the new starting quarterback for the 49ers would be Josh Johnson going forward? I say no chance.
In that case, they might bring in Mayfield if he's cleared waivers and then start the process of teaching him the offense. But Josh Johnson would start first because he knows the offense a little bit. Yes.
What about Jacob Eason? Where's he in this mix?
He's been on the team for 2 weeks. Throws hard. He throws really hard.
Now, Jacob Eason was a 5-star.
He was. And he went to Washington, where he's from.
He's the 6'6" guy with the howitzer.
Didn't he go to Georgia first and then he transferred?
Yeah. Georgia, UW.
Big Rooster Brock is, I think, what you were going for there. Paul, thank you. LK can stand Purdy and not be annoying. It's a gift. Yeah, I'm going to let him say whatever he wants to say about Purdy today. This is the day. Because we don't know if we're going to have this opportunity next week. Todd Bowles is serious.
This might be a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity.
Yeah, this is it. Sven says, since we're going down the hypotheticals train, what happens next week if Purdy pulls a Nick Foles and wins the Super Bowl?
Yeah, then what?
First of all, you make him a statue. That's first. He gets a statue. I don't know if he gets a contract, but he gets a statue. If he does, then you get it.
I said it a month ago on some live stream in the post game. Whoever wins the Super Bowl and is standing there on Super Bowl Sunday when they get that 6 Lombardi is the quarterback going forward.
But here's the thing. I get these type of hypotheticals a lot, and a few weeks ago it was, what do the Niners do with Jimmy Garoppolo if he wins the Super Bowl? And every time I'm like, can we just let him do it first? And so that's how I feel about this. Let's let that happen, and then we can talk about that. Because in retrospect, it was pretty stupid to talk about what should the Niners do with Jimmy if he wins the Super Bowl. Because it didn't happen. It didn't happen. So we don't talk about that. Hard to sign BM when he can't make the most of his opportunities. The pressure would be too much, and he would fold. At least BP knows our system. BM. I thought you were talking about.
I'll say what would be the disaster move is if they brought in Baker Mayfield and made him the starter over Brock Purdy. That would fail miserably.
Yeah, that would be bad. People saying BP better fit for SF than TL. Agree? Yes or no?
Kyle Shanahan needs the ball to come out on time to his receivers on all 3 levels.
He set you up and you went right for it. You went for the trap. So you like Purdy better than Lance, is what you're saying.
No, I'm just saying I like Lance, but Lance still has to develop and show that he can that the ball can come out on time with accuracy on all 3 levels. And they're all they are right now are both their quarterback prospects. One guy needs a lot of field time and a lot of development. The other guy needs, NFL offseason of I think Mayfield or Purdy needs, development too, as far as an athlete. But they're both just prospects. One guy was drafted high, one guy was drafted low, but it's all just opinions from people, and it's all guesswork. So I don't put too much credence in right now, is Zach Wilson good or bad? I mean, I don't know. I still like Zach Wilson. I think he's good. Other people would tell you he's terrible. So it's like
his teammates hate him, Larry.
They
made T-shirts about the backup quarterback. I've never seen anyone do that.
I know.
He's inactive.
That's not a good sign.
They basically kicked him off the team. They're like, "Oh, what'd you say?"
I would take him. I absolutely would take him and rebuild him because I believe in his arm. I believe in his talent. I think he's eventually going to get it right.
But if you can't lead, if an entire locker room of grown men vetoes you, you're in a tough spot.
Yeah, you are in a tough spot.
You better be really good. You better be really freaking good if you're that kind of personality.
Yeah.
Really good.
Yeah.
I don't know if he is. Keep asking Kyle why Trey hasn't been activated. He seems healthy. He knows the system. I think we can activate 2 more guys. I need Trey to do his part. Trey, if you're watching, post some workout videos on Instagram, man. Push the envelope. How can I go to Kyle and say that you're ready if you're not posting videos regularly? That's what I want.
You asked Kyle the question.
I did.
And Kyle didn't say he spoke. Usually he speaks as if everything emanates from him. To answer your question, he spoke like he was given that, like he just works here.
I can't. It's above me.
Well,
Yep.
What do you say? I can't, or what do you say? I was told I can, or
something like that. We can't. Can't happen. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
but Tim Kawakami got a different quote, and Tim Kawakami seems to think that the door's open. Look, I think it's why talk about it. It's a hypothetical. He's not cleared yet. Brock Purdy's going to win the Super Bowl. Why even go there? But
exactly. We'll talk about it after the parade.
Exactly. Daniel says Niners publicly said Trey Lance won't return to not cause locker room issues and show faith in Jimmy Garoppolo. That narrative will now change around Trey Lance's soonest return. Well, he hasn't gotten medically cleared yet, so I'm thinking sometime in the next month he might be. And if Brock Purdy's... Here's what I'm thinking. If Brock Purdy's playing well, we're not going to hear about Trey Lance. If Brock Purdy starts to struggle, oh, wow, Trey Lance is running. His recovery has accelerated. We're going to hear stuff like that. Prediction.
I think you're right.
Prediction. Obviously, they don't want to have to go back to Trey Lance this year. Trey Lance needs to play. Purdy needs to go to club? Club what? Club Med? What happens to Kyle Shanahan creativity? Offense is stale. Well, he's on his 3rd quarterback of the year. It's kind of tough. He thought he was going to be running counter bash this season, and now he's running something else. Austin McDonald says, is it fair to say Kyle owns his former assistant coaches? Also, how much credit does Lynch deserve for having D'Amico Ryans? New to your channel. He does seem to own him. The question is, who is ultimately responsible for this defense? Kyle, D'Amico, or John Lynch? Does John Lynch get some credit? He's the GM. He played defense. They have a great defense. I don't know.
He obviously saw something in Hufanga.
Yeah.
We were all calling for a safety. He said, "I got
Hall of Fame safety. Got one."
Yeah. Yep. And they got great safeties. So
maybe it's time to give John Lynch some credit because look, Robert Saleh, hell of a coach, D'Amico, hell of a coach, but I'm thinking this defense is going to be good even when D'Amico's gone. So
I'll say this: I talk to the players every week. I would say more times than not, the name that comes up is Chris Kocherik.
And what's amazing about him is he doesn't want to be a coordinator. I asked him before the season. I was like, did you ever have those aspirations? He was like, for a minute. But then you have to watch coverages. And I don't like watching coverages. I just like watching pass rush. So I just want to be a D-line coach. Right. I love that.
But the guys, like when there's several guys that are in that room because of Chris. Like
he's
Terry
great.
Hyder is there because of Chris.
He's great. He's great.
Best Terry Hyder because of his hair on fire. And, there's a few other guys.
Mark says Kyle would love nothing better than to win the Super Bowl with Brock. Then it would be all about him, and he wouldn't be expected to win. Hence, no pressure. Win-win for Kyle. Yeah,
I kind of agree. Mark's nailed it.
Oh, my God. He would be – everyone would say that he's a genius if he did it. I meant clubbing like Jimmy and Trey. That's the one thing I actually kind of like about Brock Purdy. He's the first Mullen, he's not a pretty boy. Like the Niners keep bringing in these very tall, handsome quarterbacks that get millions of dollars, and all of a sudden it's like, are you You still want to play quarterback over here? You're good, or did you just realize that life can be much more fun than playing football?
Brock's got the perfect personality to be an NFL quarterback, though. You have to be tough, smart, prepared, and humble, and
nerdy,
and just all about football. You're right.
Man. You're not a celebrity, man. You're not a celebrity. You're a football player. You got to work. You got to grind like your position coaches do.
Yeah.
Do the QB injuries now give Shanahan more excuses and more time in SF? That's a good question. We're gonna talk about the expectations going forward now. We're gonna talk about that
anywhere for a while.
No, he's got a lifetime contract. Are you kidding? He's a legacy. He's connected to the '94 Super Bowl team. He's here to stay. David Sir says, if Trey is activated, who's not coming back? Mitchell or Kinlaw? Big fan of both of you. I mean, do we really think Kinlaw's coming back this year?
I don't. Do they even need Kinlaw? I mean, let's be honest. John Lynch wants Kinlaw back. In an ideal world where everybody gets to come back, I want Kinlaw back. But is Kinlaw better than Hyder? Is Kinlaw better than Givens? Is Kinlaw better than their 4D end alignment? Is Kinlaw? I mean, who's Kinlaw? What's Kinlaw's? I don't think Kinlaw's really established any kind of consistent level of play where you can say he's totally dependable. He's a prospect with incredible strength.
Right.
That's what he is.
Yeah.
He's got awesome, rare 3 or 4 guys in the NFL have that level of strength. That's it.
But his pad level is a work in progress. He's a work in progress.
Is a work in progress.
Yeah. David says, if Trey's activated, who's not coming back? No, I just read that. Lag Golf says BP versus Trey Lance gives RG3 Cousins type vibes. Man, we got to slow down with this Brock Purdy stuff, man. I like it, but he hasn't necessarily put himself in that conversation yet.
Was there any point during the game that you said, damn?
Look, if he wins a playoff game, it's going to be tough for Trey because Trey is still sitting on 4 career starts. I mean, right now, he has a more extensive resume than Brock, but that's going to change in a month. So Brock could put pressure on him, but he's going to have to stay healthy and actually win these games. So let's see him do it. I'm rooting for him. I think it'd be a great story. But he hasn't exactly just taken the franchise quarterback mantle yet. I got one. This is really what the whole show's about, and I made you wait 57 minutes where we got there. Larry, you're bullish on Brock Purdy.
Yes.
And you've made great arguments. We also agree that this is one of the best defenses in the league, if not the best. Hell of a roster. They were among the Super Bowl favorites when Jimmy Garoppolo was healthy. What do you think the realistic expectations for the Niners should be going forward with Brock?
That they can maybe lose one more time in the regular season. Other than that, I think they run the table. All he's got to do is just play the game. Just play the game. That's it. Next play. Throw it away from time to time. Don't get killed. Take care of the football. That's it. They're better than these teams on their schedule. And then as far as what does he need to do? I mean, maybe win a playoff game. I mean, after that, I think you're dealing with your third string quarterback, but I think a really talented player. I think realistic expectations are that you lose one more time in the regular season, you win one playoff game. And then after that, I think you got to be realistic that you're probably going to, I mean, Dallas right now looks like a monster. I mean, they're rushing the quarterback. They're scoring 50 points, 40 points, 50 points. I mean, they got a ton of rush. I think the Niners can run on them, but that's why that question about Mitchell or Kinlaw, Mitchell has to come back.
Yeah.
Mitchell, if they're going to have a chance, Mitchell has to come back.
It just feels like such a shame that we're saying, okay, let's lower their expectation to one win in the playoffs. Yeah, and I get it. You're down to your third string quarterback, but man,
as far as
another season derailed because you couldn't keep quarterbacks healthy? Really? Another season of a legit powerhouse roster that you shouldn't be able to even put together in the salary cap era doesn't get a championship when the rest of the league is mediocre as hell because you're down to your third string quarterback. Like, there's got to be a fix. It's year 6 of Kyle Shanahan, and he's still being like, how do I keep my quarterbacks healthy and my running backs? It's like, I'm not saying fire Kyle, but it's disheartening that another year of this awesome, awesome team is going to go to waste, potentially. It's too bad. Unless Brock Purdy can be the most inspirational rookie quarterback of all freaking time. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's where the Niners are at right now. And that's why you're looking at Baker Mayfield. He's won a playoff game. What about Baker? Yeah, but what's left?
I think here's the one thing I was trying to remind everybody. Shit changes fast in the NFL. It wasn't that long ago that if I said to you that the Eagles are the number one seed in the East with Jalen Hurts at quarterback, really? It wasn't that long ago that people weren't so hot on the Eagles or Jalen Hurts. So stuff changes fast. I'm just saying that you can't do it until you show that you can. I think I've got some questions whether Purdy can get it done, but I got questions about a bunch of quarterbacks in the NFL whether they can get it done.
We have questions about Lance too. I mean, you kidding?
I mean, I love Lance as a prospect, but I'll tell you right now, Grant, as a prospect, I'm having a hard time envisioning Trey Lance ever getting the 20 to 25 game ramp up that I think he needs to fulfill this potential that I see in him in this organization, with this fan base, with this coaching staff, with these
and this win now team. Yeah, I know. And that's what I said when they drafted him. I'm like,
when could it happen?
Yeah, his timeline and the Niners timeline are not the same.
They don't jive.
Never have been. It's tough. It's really tough for him. So, but what sucks is, and for the Niners is, okay, so what if you say, you know what? We gave up 3 first-round picks for Trey, but it's just he doesn't fit our timeline. We'll let him go somewhere else. What if he goes somewhere else and becomes everything you thought he would be? And you traded 3 first-round picks for him, never gave him a chance, and then sold low on him. You look so stupid. So you got to be careful.
Well, you got to win the Super Bowl.
And you don't know what you have in Lance. So you can't give up on him before you give him a chance to at least prove himself, because you're already invested. You can't take that back.
Right. And I agree. They will look bad long term unless they win the Super Bowl in the process. If they win the Super Bowl in the process and he goes on and wins the Super Bowl somewhere else, there'll still be plenty of second guessing. He's just, but I mean, he's so raw and he needs so much time, and the fans are so impatient, and the team is so built to win now, and the ownership is, if they lose 2 in a row, Dr. John's at practice. I mean, everybody's tight as a drum until they get this Lombardi. I don't know. If they win the Lombardi, does that make it easier to give Trey a 20-game ramp up? If they, I don't know. I'm not sure. I can't today though. I cannot picture the 49ers.
Here's what's going to happen:
giving him what he needs to fulfill his potential without the fans losing it and the coaching staff losing it.
Here's what's going to happen. I agree. What's going to happen is they're probably not going to win the Super Bowl this year. They could, but they're probably not going to win the Super Bowl this year, and then they'll sign Tom Brady. And you know what? Say what you want about signing Tom Brady. He's washed. He's 46. He'll stay healthy. He'll be on the field for 17 games in the playoffs. And with this defense and these weapons, he doesn't need to be prime Tom Brady. They'll win the Super Bowl. I think that's what's going to happen. I think he's in Tampa Bay right now wishing he was here. Thinking, man, I could have just stayed retired and stayed married and Giselle wouldn't have left, but I'm in Tampa and I hate it here and it's humid and our team sucks. I think he wants to come here. I think he really regrets not working it out sooner. That's what I think.
I agree. But the question is, 46-year-old Tom
46.
Brady.
46-year-old Tom Brady will stay healthy.
Trey,
you know why?
Bringing Trey back, or are you trading Trey? How are you going to make Trey sit another year?
What's he going to do? Ask for, or what's he going to do?
Be unhappy?
He's going to say, I'm down to, he's going to be a good teammate and learn from Tom Brady.
But I mean, think about it from business standpoint. Let's say Purdy plays pretty well, but they don't win the Super Bowl and they bring in Tom Brady. Now you got Brady and Purdy. Wouldn't you just move Lance just to reclaim those picks and just kind of get down the road? I mean, you're not going to give him the job anytime soon.
I wouldn't, because
you're
selling low. You're selling low.
You are selling low, but I mean, my goodness.
I'm just saying. I'm not saying necessarily what they should do.
To the finish line with Lance.
I think they're going to get Brady. I think they're going to get Brady next year.
And go to the finish line with Lance.
Yes. They're too invested to give up with Lance now.
I mean, that's a ton of time to wait.
Yeah. But it's one thing to sit Lance behind Jimmy Garoppolo. It's another thing to sit behind Tom Brady for 1 year.
No, I know.
I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. But as you said, they're not on the same.
It's a lot of quarterbacks.
As you said, they're not on the same timeline. They got to win now. Brady's available. He wants to come home. I don't see how you say no. I just don't see how you'd be like, hey, Tom, we're good. We have this other quarterback who has 4 career starts and has gotten hurt twice. We're good. Or no, we're going to bring back Jimmy, who always gets hurt. No, we're good. Or Brock Purdy, who has, 8 career starts. No, thank you, Tom. We're totally set at quarterback over here. They can't say no to him twice. He can sign himself to this team.
I don't know that the 49ers can coach Trey Lance into the player that they need him to be.
Well, I think that's fair to wonder. I think the Niners trading all other picks. I think the Niners trading all their 2 picks is good. Their late picks are always elite. If they have no top picks, no pressure on Kyle Lynch to play top picks over the better low picks. Well, we'll see.
Rams did it. It worked for them.
Yeah, they suck now, though.
Right. They're thin.
David says, what's with Debo lining up behind the quarterback 10 yards behind, back from scrimmage? Has anything good ever come from that formation? Give more carries to Mason. Yeah, it's like, why are you putting him so far back? He's not. You have 2 better running backs than him right now. Put him on the line of scrimmage. Use him as a wide receiver, please.
Maybe they could be trying to kind of give the defense a look that they're going to try to orbit motion Debo. That's the only thing I can think of. I agree with Jordan Mason, by the way. Give Jordan Mason more carries. What team? The Niners are the only team that can hand a back the ball, have him just rumble through monster holes, look super impressive. You don't see him for like 3 series later. I mean, it's like they just bury him for like 3 or 4 series.
Josh Wyatt says there's only one quarterback that knows the offense and is an elite NFL talent. That guy is the only hope for this season. Everything else is just noise. Who? Jimmy?
I guess that's his Jimmy motivation.
Motivation Gaming saying, what do you think about us picking up Cam Newton? We don't know what Cam's been up to.
I saw Cam last year with the Patriots. I thought he sucked.
Mike Baker says, I've heard you talk about it, but why can't we replace McGlinchey? Is he on a lifetime contract? Don't want to hate they like him. And I bet you they bring him back next year. Hot take.
Really? I think he's gone at the end of the year.
Nah, but I think the Niners like him more than other teams like him, and I don't think there'll be any market for him. And I think they'll bring him back on a bargain contract, and he's going to be the right tackle. That's what I think.
I definitely think they like him more than other teams like him, but he's also isn't he a Philly guy? I could see him wanting to play in the East.
Philly's too good for Mike McGlinchey. He's going to have to go to Pittsburgh or something. Philly has a legit
somewhere near
line.
Philly.
Yeah. Double B Studio says, can any quarterback do worse than Jimmy in the postseason? Probably not. Another reason to feel optimistic about this team with someone else. Thank you for the $5. It's time to get rid of Kyle. He's not the man for it. Ooh. Well, let's see what he's got with his 3rd string quarterback. He might just be a genius.
There'll be none. Every game, the lead up will be the Niners have no shot.
Pretty much. Tom Brady can go out like Peyton, game manager. What's wrong with that? He's always been a game manager. Although he's top 7 in passing yards this year. Who's to say if Brady wins, he'll be done in a year? If he wins, would you want him to leave? Roger, thank you.
It's $10 just for the helmet.
Jordan Love waited. Yeah, it's true.
He looked a lot better this last time out. Takes time.
Does. Dominic says, sad that nobody wants to give Trey a fair chance. It's just a tough situation here with this veteran win now team that doesn't want
to take a step back. What's it? What that comment? I mean, no, I don't want to attack the people in the chat, but the Niners gave him a fair shot. The fans gave him a fair shot. The locker room gave him a fair shot. He's hurt. Who's not giving Trey a fair shot? I'd love to know. Yeah,
he's hurt. Michael says, how do you think Purdy will play against the Bucs next, and will Purdy get the win? I don't know if they're going to win. It's Monday. But I think it's going to be a challenge for Purdy against this Bucs team. I don't know. What do you think?
I think you're going to be impressed. I think he's going to get the ball to his weapons. I think they're going to try to force him to throw the ball outside the numbers. I think he's going to make a couple of those throws. I think Bowles is going to see that they blitz him like a bunch of crazed dogs, and they're going to come after him. But he made some plays against the blitz this week. So, all I'd say is there's going to be, I would say, Grant, 4 or 5 snaps minimum that they're just going to go jailbreak on the quarterback, force the ball out of his hands, and he's going to have to either find somebody or throw it into the turf, or he's going to get knocked out of the game. They're going to come at him full barrel.
Gizmo says, I've seen Josh Johnson play with the Jets. He looked pretty good. He'll beat out Purdy. My question to you, do you think Josh Johnson will start a game for the Niners this season?
No. No chance.
I think he will.
Really?
I do. And it's nothing against Brock, but the Niners can't keep their quarterbacks healthy. Why?
I think as soon as Josh Johnson would be the starter, they would promote Eason off the practice squad.
That's my prediction. We'll see. So Josh Wyatt says, what do you mean who? Trey Lance the only solution. I agree. That's it. That's the end of the show. We're done. This has been a very lively day. I think this has been like probably the most not excited Niner fans have been, but the most, I don't know what the word is, engaged they've been since freaking early in the season. A
lot of speculation.
It's a very intriguing time. And
Farhan appreciates it, by the way. Takes him off the hook.
Yeah, he still hasn't gotten Aaron Judge? Still working on that? Yeah, he's going to come up. He's just a little bit short.
Maybe he'll have maybe after next week's win over the Bucs, he'll have Purdy call Judge to try to recruit him.
Yeah, Purdy's got that kind of sway. Yeah. Hey, it's Brock. You got to activate Trey.
Purdy played great, and then somehow Aaron Judge came out and said, "I wasn't coming here, but Brock said come here, and I just believe in Brock."
You could just retire at that point. You just put Larry's jersey in the rafters. Yeah. You got to activate Trey if medically cleared. Yeah, I mean, Kyle said today. He said that. If he's cleared, hell yeah. So, again, that's something you go to in case. Listening to Purdy talk gave me confidence. You came through for the Niner fans today, Larry. Thank you.
Smart guy, Purdy.
Hakeem the Dream, Alex Smith would unretire to come to the Niners. No, he would not, but that would be pretty cool. Alex, cool. It's done.
I'd be worried about him getting hurt.
Yeah. Thanks, everyone. Goodbye. See you tomorrow with my pops.